Mortgage pain is coming, and the sob stories begin. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to have a look at an article that a viewer sent me saying the sob stories have already begun. Now, in previous episodes, I've discussed the fact that the media, particularly the ABC, seem to have a talent for just hyping up these bloody sob stories where, woe is me, I made a financial decision and now I have to bear the consequences of my own decision. We can't have that, I guess, comrade, in the glorious utopia of Australia, can we? I mean, isn't that just called being an adult? Now, am I just too old? You know, bloody geriatric millennial, virtually a boomer. Am I just too old to still think that? You know, people shouldn't have responsibility or realize that their decisions have consequences. Maybe I'm just too old. Just let me know. Because what we're talking about here is the impending mortgage cliff of people who are coming off their fixed rate mortgage. Because, well, just a reminder, that cash rate of 0.1%, the cash rate target, that wasn't normal, okay? None of us knew that was normal, or none of us believed, or I hope none of us believed that was normal. None of us trusted Philip Lowe when the media reported that rates wouldn't go up until 2024, so we locked our mortgage in very low. We took advantage of the fixed rates. At least that's what I thought. I thought we were all, seeing the same things I'm seeing, going, you know what, this ain't going to happen again. We got to take advantage of this while we can. We're not as lucky as the Yanks with their lifetime fixed mortgages, so, get a bit of a deal while we can. But let's look at this article here. Fixed rate borrowers brace for jump in repayments as cheap home loans end. Okay, and if we bring up my good old Excel here, we can see, say, a $527,000 mortgage, which is the Queensland average, goes from 1.99 to 5.82%, which would be a reasonable variable rate. Oh no, variable here. Comback, we'll do this, 4.44. Okay, 4.44. You're seeing an increase of 36% in your mortgage repayments. That's an extra $8,000 a year you need to come up with. That's if, you've still got 36 years left on your mortgage. 360 months left on your mortgage, 30 years. It'll be less than that, but this is just giving you an idea of how much extra money you need to find. And of course, this changes depending on which state you live in and how crazy you've been with your mortgage. Now, we should all prepare for this. If you've got a fixed rate mortgage, you should prepare for your mortgage going up. So say you've got a $400,000 mortgage. There you go. You've got to prepare to find another $500 a month. Okay? That's reality. We're all aware of it, but let's see how they paint this. So, Felix and Georgia Daniels' baby is due any day now. Oh, congratulations. I love seeing that. There's, people actually having families. It's encouraging. They've enjoyed setting up a nursery in their first home, which they bought last September. We weren't sure if prices were going to keep going up, Felix said, but we did know that we wanted to have a place before we started having a family. And that is a drive I can completely 100% relate to that. I remember when we were looking at a rental apartment and Rachel was pregnant, and I said, nah, we've got to find a house. We've got to find a house. We found a house that was more of a fixer-upper than the rental we were looking at, but still, that's part of life. The $600,000 mortgage. Okay, so they've got 600 grand, so they're up there. 600,000, so they're looking, have to find a decent extra repayment, 36% increase. The $600,000 mortgage on their Canberra house is manageable for now, but they're worried about what happens when their fixed rate of 1.89% ends next October. So they've got a year. So it's only manageable now. It should be manageable both ways. Their repayments will rise by about $1,000 a month. Yeah, that's it. What you're going to do is you're going to cut back. You're going to realize how many people will help you out when you have a new baby. If you need clothes or stuff like that, go to friends that have stopped having kids. They've decided, not like some crazy bald-headed YouTubers, to just stop at 2 and not go to 6. But, there you go. You get the hand-me-downs. We're pretty nervous. It's going to be tight, Georgia said. Yep, that's part of life. It's called being an adult. Now you'll know. Wait Wait till you hear the words from your parents emanate from your own lips. Wait till you start getting shitty because the kids leave the lights on. Oh, that's a flashback you don't want to have. I'll have to think about how many days I go back for. Maybe I'll have to go back full time, even though in an ideal world I would go back part time. Well, okay, here's the decision you have to make. Maybe you don't want the $600,000 house. Maybe you need to cut back on some luxuries. Maybe see if you can get a family member to move in if you want to spend more time with your child. This is the saddest thing. I remember we were working with Lorna Jane, and one of the project managers there had a baby at the same time Rachel did. And, because Rachel's a business owner, she can do whatever she wants. And this poor woman, her partner, insisted she go back to work. She was back at work months later. Where do you think the baby is? And this is the thing, when you put the children very young into childcare, it can result in abandonment issues. It's not picture perfect bloody romance. The child needs to be around their mother. Okay, that's important. A wave of fixed rate loans will end next year. At least $275 billion worth of fixed rate loans with the big four banks will come to an end between July and next December. Almost half of loans taken out in the middle of 2021 were taken out on a fixed rate basis, which is unusually high for Australia. CEDA economist Andrew Baker explains. Yeah, because it was insanely low, guys. Some people were getting rates under 1.89%. Do they say what they're at? There you go, 1.89. They even beat me. I mean, that's nuts. So, while homeowners with variable mortgages have been facing regular increases as the cash rate goes up, fixed-rate borrowers are now facing a steep jump in their repayments basically overnight. No, not basically overnight. Within 4 years, within 2 years, it's not overnight. You've got time to prepare. Okay? Come on. Is Australia getting worse, or is this just the ABC? Mortgage prisoner risk for recent borrowers. Yeah, okay, you might be trapped with your bank and with your mortgage until you earn more money or you cut expenses. It's part of life. It's particularly those who bought at the peak of house prices during the pandemic who may have more problems, and they're the ones that the banks really need to monitor, Mr. Baker warns. The rise in interest rates for many of these recent buys is likely to be exacerbated by uncompetitive variable rates that some of these fixed-rate loans will roll onto. Normally, a borrower at the end of a fixed-rate period might look at refinancing to another fixed loan or a more competitive variable rate. But Rate City's Sally Tyndall warns that might not be an option for many. Some people may find that they can't refinance at that particular point in time because the equity in their property has fallen away to below 20%, she said. So they might have to pay lenders' mortgage insurance in order to refinance. Yeah, so they'll have to go through a period where they're stuck with that bank and that mortgage, and they'll have to budget and plan for it. Get out the old Excel, run some worst case scenarios. Do it now. If you're in this situation, sit down with the missus. Scenario worst case, what can happen, and then what you do is you plan out your financial spending and habits to account for that. You list out all your expenses and cut all the rubbish you don't need. And if you really need to, you start selling shit. Okay, when money gets tight, when it gets really tight, and you'll be amazed at how cheap you can live. Start cooking at home, don't eat out. Mortgage broker Bruce Carr, who runs Sydney-based Loanscape, says some borrowers may be completely ineligible for refinancing, even with LMI, amid a fall in maximum borrowing capacity due to rising interest rates and tighter regulation. Many people who borrowed at the market peak may now be in mortgage prisons, unable to refinance their home loan due to not being able to requalify for the same loan under current lending criteria, he said. Mr. Carr estimates the maximum borrowing capacity has fallen by about 27% from a peak in October 2021. This means someone who borrowed to their maximum capacity then could not refinance even if they purchased with a 20% deposit, and their home value has since fallen. Personal finance lecturer at Griffith University, Di Johnson, says around 1/4 of all new homeowners have borrowed 6 times or more their income to buy their property. Okay, now here's the question. Is this 6 times individual or household? Is it individual or household? If it's individual, then it's surprisingly low. If it's household, that's what I'd expect nowadays. Because right now, as you said, she needs to go back to work. That's the sad part of the world for many people now here in Australia. You know, a young couple like this, having their first kid, she should be able to stay at home for a year or 2 years. But this is the problem. When you have an entire economy now where women are encouraged to work, where now they have to work just to get ahead. A couple, both of you need to work. And I mean, it doesn't always have to be the mother staying home. It can be the dad too, but usually when a baby's breastfeeding, you want the mother at home at the beginning. We don't have that option anymore. We don't even have that flexibility these days. I would argue that we need to look at fringe benefit tax implications of hiring support in the workplace. Start to be a bit more innovative, but they're just going to chuck more money at childcare because it's easy. It's a vote winner. Labor loves it because it'll win votes. It's not going to be affordable. It's going to be a huge sinkhole, the money they'll throw at it. I think there's a real hidden financial pain when you look at mortgages, because in Australia, people will go almost anything to be able to pay their rent or mortgage, she said. Well, yeah, you can't chuck the keys back to the bank. And there's a stigma with being kicked out of your house in Australia. Okay, we're a two-class society. You're a renter, or you're a homeowner. You know, one of the lauded class, just owning a house here. It's just the way it is. So here's what you can do to prepare for a rate hike. Start thinking about your next step at least 2 months in advance of your fixed rate term ending, Ms. Tyndall said. Shop around for a decent rate, but also understand what your bank might be willing to offer you. Renegotiating is one tactic at that point in time, another is refinance. Dr. Johnson says borrowers can check what their repayments are likely to increase to and start living as if they are already on the higher payments. That's good advice. That perhaps can help people see just how much room there is or isn't in their budget and what else might need to change. Other things people can do is also start by make extra repayments, building up a buffer, trying to save more. If the repayments are still unaffordable, it may be worth speaking to your lender's financial hardship team. They may be able to defer. Look at this advice. Finally, financial counselling and the National Debt Helpline can also offer free and independent advice. Well, let's have a talk about this, guys. I mean, what's the old advice that an architect, Florian here, will give you that I'm completely not licensed to give you? It would be earn more money, find additional income streams. If you have to do some gig economy work on the weekends, sell useless shit you have around the house, rent out a room if you have to. Cut down on the luxuries in life that you don't need. Go without food. Skip the odd meal now and then to make your food budget go a little bit longer. You'd be amazed how far you can stretch stuff. But, what do I know? I've only had to go through tough times too, running a business. It can be challenging, particularly when someone doesn't pay you a 6-figure bill on time. Oh, that's awesome. But the thing is, I honestly think we will see a lot of people step up and actually have to make a budget for the first time and take responsibility for their life and their financial situation. Remember, we've had nothing but good times in the livable memory of most people working. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. As always, if you're a fan and want to check out other stuff, you can look at HeiseBim and HeiseSays International. You can also support us financially on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And prepare for interest rate increases. Although I'm about to do a video, one bank has decreased their interest rates. So we'll have a look at that one next.